Holy crap, this book is great. And it's written by Kevin Smith. Weird, I've always had an irrational and strange dislike for the guy. But now, this is just maybe one of the best Batman books I've ever read. This is Batman the Widening Gyre, collecting the first 6 issues of the miniseries of the same name, and written by the aforementioned Kevin Smith and penciled by Walter Flanagan. And here's something you need to know before reading this, though. It's probably the most distinctly mature Batman book you have ever read. Or maybe not. I'm no expert on every Batman book ever. But it's definitely the most mature Batman book I've ever read. I mean, just look at this. But beyond all of that, there are some less than visual themes, mostly told through Batman's narration, that really complete these villains' despicable characters. There's more sexual stuff than I've ever seen in a Batman book, more blood and gore, more mature content, period, as it were. But I'm going to stop comparing this to other more mainstream Batman books, because that's doing this book's singular, incredible style a disservice. And yeah, part of that style comes from the art. It actually looks pretty good most of the time, despite the realism it's going after. Oh yeah, by the way, the more cartoony the art, the more I like it. But this art really is pretty fantastic regardless, except Bruce's face. I don't even know what is going on here. I mean, everybody else's face looks normal. What's Bruce's problem? Okay, but really, besides that, the art style really drives home the writing. Sure, in that it's a little more mature, but also because of the contrasting Smith does with the Batman mythos. Bruce has these flashbacks to Silver Age times, and the art similarly gets a little brighter. These flashbacks only make the contrast of the present in the book more significant, and ties it into the relatively obscure villains that Bruce fights in this book. And I'm definitely all for obscure. But there are some interesting new character dynamics in this book, more in the forefront than any with previously established characters. Well, maybe except with the return of Silver St. Cloud, a former lover who also happens to know about Bruce's nighttime hobby. In addition, a new mask or cape or whatever appears on the scene in Gotham, and oh man, let's just say my first impression of him was validated by the end. So, in summary, this book kicks ass for all sorts of reasons. Pretty solid art, fantastic dialogue, lots of wit, interesting tie-ins to the mythos and character development, a plot that keeps you guessing because of its relative lack of apparent focus, and a payoff that makes you want to read so much more. And if you've ever thought, man, an R-rated Batman movie would be awesome, this is most definitely the book for you. And even if you haven't thought that specific thought, and let's be honest, you'd be kind of normal if you haven't, read this book anyways. It's at least a recommendation level of you're missing something in your life if you haven't read this. And actually, I think this page just sums that all up really nicely.